Alright guys, how's it going? I'm back with the quickest possible video here. Over the past few days, Captain Electro and Donnie B all day posted a few videos about combat knives. And I wanted to kind of put my 2 cents in. I have a pretty interesting story that I wanted to share with everybody and see what Donnie thinks about it. So let's start with this. First, this is the cold steel leatherneck Tonto. In D2. So this is what I think of when I think a combat fighting knife. But the conversation has gotten a little interesting, and Donnie, as most of us know, he is a veteran. If you don't, yep, Donnie is a veteran. He served in our Army. So, DBAD, thank you for your service, brother. I really appreciate it. We all really appreciate it. So that's another reason why I wanted to film this video, because the other knife that I'm going to show has a pretty interesting story. But let's still stay here with the cold steel. Right here on knifecenter.com, the first sentence in the description about this knife is, again, this is from Knife Center's website. This tough, combat-ready fixed blade has a distinct and iconic blade style, which has been proven to be exceptionally popular with our brothers and sisters in the armed forces. That's directly from the Knife Center description about the cold steel leatherneck Tonto. This leatherneck, the cold steel leatherneck, also comes in a drop point. It's called the SF. Some quick specs on it. It's a 6 3/4 inch blade, 5 millimeters thick. It's German D2 with a black powder coat, made in Taiwan, and it weighs 11.7 ounces. Again, the description from Knife Center. I love it. This was one of my favorites. Top 3 fixed blades in my favorites list before getting a couple of my other cold steel, but it still is in my top 5 of my cold steel fixed blades. But as far as a fixed blade Tonto, the Warcraft Tonto replaced this one when I got that. But again, this one is still in my top 5. So this is what I think of when I think of a combat fighting knife. So, Donnie, I don't know, I can't remember if I saw a video on your channel of you with this knife or not, but if you do have this knife, and if you did post a video, I'm sorry, I must have overlooked it, but if you do know this knife, which I know you do have a ton of cold steels, what's your thoughts on this one? The way Cold Steel did theirs, I just actually got finished watching your K-bar video from all the K-bars that Captain Electro sent over to you, and I also watched his video about your War Machine, which is beautiful looking. I do want to try and pick one of those up eventually. But let's get to the interesting part of the story. So I've been living in Hawaii for quite some time, almost 10 years now, and at my old job, I used to install appliances, residential and commercial appliances, everything from a small little washer and dryer all the way up to those big, $23,000 Sub-Zero refrigerators, the big old refrigerators, the Wolf. If anybody's familiar with Wolf brand appliances, some of those stoves go for around $8,000-9,000. So everything and anything appliance related, I delivered and installed. Well, one of the guys he was new, he came in, a guy named Tony. He had done, I believe it was 20 or 21 years in the Army, and he was my partner. I trained him when he first came in to the company on how to deliver and install appliances. And when you're sitting in a truck with a guy for, a quick day for us was a 10-hour day. I mean, we usually work 12, 13 hours a day on average. So when you're sitting with a guy that long, you guys get to talking, and it came up that I was into knives and that I like knives and collecting knives. And this was back probably around 2014 or so. So we're talking, and I actually totally forgot that we had even had that conversation. A couple days later, he comes to work and he says, "Hey, I got something for you," and he hands me this. I had never seen anything like it. Now, Tony was a great guy. He ended up moving back to Texas, so I haven't seen or spoken to him in a very long time. And again, the story that he told me, I have no reason to doubt the story, but other than his word, I can't verify it any other way. But here's the story. Donnie, I know you've been in Iraq. I don't know if you were in Afghanistan or not, but this is the story behind this knife. So Tony told me that while he was deployed in Afghanistan, some of the villagers would give the troops, the U.S. troops, gifts and things to show appreciation, little trinkets or, odds or ends or crafts or different things, I guess from their culture or, what have you, just to kind of show their, like a peace offering to the soldiers, because the soldiers would give them things, water, food, toys for the kids that played, and, things like that. So Tony told me that one of the village elders gave him this knife one day, as a token of appreciation to him for being a soldier over there trying to help the Afghan people in this particular village that my friend happened to be in. That's all I know about it. It says stainless. I believe that says Rasta-free. And then on the other side it says China. It's very heavy. It's got this kind of sharp tooth saw back on it. It was a little rougher when I first got it, but I took a little Brillo pad to it and got some of the surface rust off. And it came in this kind of real thin Condora, whatever you call it, kind of sheath with this little loop tied to it. So that's all I know about it. I was just grateful that it was something Anthony was, willing to give to me. He said he had sons that were a little too young for this thing, and he didn't want it just hanging around the house, and he had no use for it, and he knew that it would be something that I would appreciate, which, of course, I'll never get rid of this thing because it was a gift from a friend of mine who is also a veteran who served in our army here, in our military, and fought for our freedoms. So I could never give something like this away or give something like this up. Monetarily, I don't think it has any value anyway, but that's not the point. It's a really cool piece. It's an awesome piece. It's something that I've had, again, since around 2014, and I never plan on getting rid of it. It's got this crazy tang on the back here with this lanyard hole. The handles look to be some type of wood pinned in. Really not balanced all that well, but hey, it was a gift to him and then from him to me, so I thought that was pretty awesome. DBAD, I don't know if any of the story that I've just told sounds accurate based on any of your experiences, but I'd be really interested to know if you've ever heard or experienced something similar to that story. But yeah, so apparently, I guess this is what Afghan villagers consider a combat knife. So there it is. This is what I consider a combat fighting knife. But again, my thoughts and opinions have changed a little now since seeing Cap's video and seeing DBAD's video. DBAD's War Machine is definitely, I can see more combat fighting, as this would be something more combat utility. But I do notice that instead of K-bar, how they do theirs, their handle, their stacked leather, and even their rubber handle is still pretty. It's like a circle. It's pretty round. Cold Steel did theirs. I don't really know what you would call it, but there is some indents here. I mean, it's super comfortable. It's not coming out of your hand. It's got the, as Cap calls it, the noggin knocker. I think Scab calls it that too, the noggin knocker on the back. But I mean, this thing is awesome. It's well balanced. It swings well. I mean, for 5 millimeters thick. Beautiful, beautiful. Again, one of my top 5 favorite fixed blades in my collection. So let me know what you guys think. Thanks to everybody who checked out my previous video. It was a video response to Captain Electro, to Isaac the Noob Backwoodsman. Both of those guys are linked in the description of that video if you guys would please go and check them out, as well as 2 other guys. And I'm going to be doing some more videos here in the next couple of days and linking some other channels who have been guys that I've been watching and following for a very long time and have had a lot of influence on me and my knife journey one way or another. So I'll get into that during those videos. But hope everybody's doing well. You guys have a safe 4th of July weekend. Enjoy your independence. And if you see people who are veterans or even people in uniform, please take 3 seconds and say thank you for your service, because it is appreciated. Here in Hawaii, there are a few military bases, and I see people in the military in uniform all the time. And I'm not saying this to brag or give myself a pat on the back or anything. I'm just saying it to maybe inspire some other people who see this. I always make a point to say thank you for your service and that I appreciate it. And the overwhelming response is always gratitude. Sometimes people are very surprised, especially with the way the world is today. Strangers aren't really willing to talk to strangers, but somebody who's willing to put on a uniform, pick up a rifle, and risk their life for mine and my family's, the least I can say is thank you. So to all of our active duty military members and to all of our veterans, happy Independence Day. Thank you for your service. Aloha, guys.